Hey, I am James Altucher, and I want to read to you these three headlines that I've seen in mainstream media about cryptocurrencies crashing. Here's one headline: Bitcoin is dying. There's another one: Bitcoin is headed for zero. Cryptocurrencies will eventually prove worthless. These sound pretty bad. And considering cryptocurrencies have, in fact, crashed a gut wrenching 80%, it's no surprise that the media has predicted their death. And you've probably read people on Facebook bashing cryptocurrencies and saying the fad has passed. And if the headlines you just heard are accurate, you'd have to be crazy to hold any cryptocurrencies during this crash. And you'd have to be absolutely nuts to buy more. But here's the thing: those headlines I just read to you aren't from today. The first one was from November 2019 after Bitcoin's value dropped in half, prompting a former US Treasury and International Monetary Fund economist to predict Bitcoin's death. 2 years later, Bitcoin rocketed 890% higher. The second headline I read is from July 2021 after Bitcoin had dropped over $5,000 just before it screamed up almost $10,000 20 days afterwards, on its way up to its record high. The third one I read was after Bitcoin hit $47,000. 3 months later, Bitcoin hit $64,400. I could show you more of these headlines, but why am I reading these to you? Because the cryptocurrency markets are once again crashing. The mainstream media is once again declaring the death of cryptocurrencies. The real truth is, you are in the perfect position to bolster your retirement savings and even take advantage of 8,788% gains. I understand if all of this sounds ridiculous, especially now. I mean, there's no way you could make that much with Bitcoin now, you might say. And you're right. I 100% agree with you. Those days are over. And if you want profits like that, you need to look beyond Bitcoin and you need to look beyond coins getting attention and all the press and so on. Making money in the cryptocurrency space now requires a completely different strategy. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is. Let's talk some more. Let's start off talking about the elephant in the room. The crypto market and the stock market they've just been beaten bloody in 2022. Things are ugly right now, and they could even get uglier. The flood of free money from 2020 and 2021 has gone bone dry. Instead of providing quantitative easing, the Fed is now tightening money supply. Global supply chain breakdowns are going to keep cutting our economy off at the knees. Food shortages are spreading. Prices are spiking higher. Russia's war with the Ukraine will keep making everything worse. You can find all kinds of articles online saying that crypto is dead. In fact, let me read you one more. Bitcoin is worthless and will perform worse than stocks in the coming months, analyst says. This headline was actually halfway correct. For a few months, Bitcoin did perform worse in the stock market. But guess what happened within 4 years of that headline? Bitcoin had gone up 9x, massively outperforming the stock market. That's a cumulative gain of 863%. This is important because with the markets crashing, cryptocurrencies seem even worse than stocks. But history has shown that the smart move is to go even bigger into crypto during a crash. This time, though, and I stress this, you need a completely different strategy if you want to make money with crypto today. And the good news is, my research, which I've used to make millions of dollars in the cryptocurrency market, is showing we're entering a brand new era of cryptocurrency where fortunes can still be made. And I predict you can make your fortune faster than if you waited for the stock market to recover. I'm going to show you how this crash is handing you an opportunity on a silver platter that could be worth way more than 9x. Listen, to get in on this opportunity, you need to act before December 31st. That's when a specific event is anticipated to happen. It's going to take cryptocurrency more mainstream than ever before, similar to the internet in 2005. And I predict its demand is going to skyrocket. And I'm not the only one saying this. Billionaire Mark Cuban, who I've had on my podcast several times, also believes this upcoming event is going to be game changing. I'll give you the details in a moment, including the name of this cryptocurrency I'm piling into, and it's not Bitcoin. Not that I'm down on Bitcoin. Even with the recent crash, Bitcoin is still the seventh largest form of money that exists, and I predict it will bounce back even higher, although that will take time. But if you want to make a fortune, You can't just pile into Bitcoin and hope for the best. We've entered a brand new era of cryptocurrency where big corporations are already using certain cryptocurrencies as an important part of their business, and the smart money is piling in. The bad news is you can't simply invest in whatever cryptocurrencies seem popular and automatically make money. The good news is this environment is actually perfect for more careful and discerning investors. Listen, I keep tabs on all the major venture capital firms in Silicon Valley, and I can confirm the smart money is not only still in crypto, they're in crypto more than ever. And if you play your next move right, you have the chance to make a fortune. I've done it before. And as I mentioned, a few years ago, I turned a $25,000 cryptocurrency investment into $2 million. And I do want to show you how to do the same. Now, you shouldn't simply buy the dip. And I'll explain in a moment. We're not just witnessing yet another dip. The crash, this particular crash, is showing something completely different is happening. Your best bet is to use the same strategy that the smart money is taking advantage of. And I'm going to show you exactly what that is. And as I said before, my name is James Altucher. I am a Wall Street Journal best-selling author who has written over 20 books. One of them, Choose Yourself, was called a must-read by Forbes and has 2,900 plus reviews on Amazon with an average 4.4 star rating. My articles have been published by the Financial Times, the New York Observer, the Wall Street Journal, Yahoo Finance, many other places. My podcast, The James Altucher Show, has more than 70 million downloads. During my career, I've made valuable connections with everyone from, again, Mark Cuban, the star of Shark Tank, and he's also owner of the Dallas Mavericks, to Peter Thiel, the billionaire founder of PayPal, and then one of the first investors in Facebook, Richard Branson, many others. I founded and ran my own $55.6 million hedge fund and a $200 million venture capital firm. I'm a successful angel investor and especially in crypto technology. So successful, in fact, I turned down an opportunity to work with a $100 million crypto based hedge fund for the wealthy. Instead, I really enjoy what I'm doing. And my most recent book, The Big Book of Crypto, just a few months after its launch, it sold over 20,000 plus copies. So I'm not saying any of this to brag. Before enjoying this success, I went through very, very troubled times. 24 years ago, my portfolio got gutted so horribly. I am not ashamed to admit I cried myself to sleep every night. It was horrible. It was because of the in part because of the dot com crash, but I'm not going to blame that. I take responsibility. I lost my entire net worth, over $15 million, from multimillionaire to zero. I thought not only I ruined my life, but I ruined the next three generations of descendants' lives. So I was pacing around my house at 3 in the morning, wondering how I'd support my kids and if my wife would take them away and I never see them again. But fortunately, I figured out how to rebuild my fortune from the bottom. And I even ran a private hedge fund, a private equity firm. And part of my methodology was to actually take advantage of market crashes, which is why today I do not sweat the crashes. And you shouldn't either. In fact, I look forward to crashes. Here's what this has to do with you. Right now, the best way I've applied this fortune building technique is to be focused on the cryptocurrency market. And let me tell you, these techniques work even better with cryptocurrencies than they ever did with stocks. Take a look at this mansion. My publishers call this the house that crypto built because I actually bought this house just a short time ago and paid for it with my crypto earnings. And now that I've had this success, I've found that helping people makes me much happier than helping, a dozen ultra wealthy people get even wealthier. Those who have followed my suggestions could have taken advantage of Bitcoin's 50,000% plus growth. I mean, last year it topped $60,000 in value. Now it's crashed over halfway down a little more. No doubt about it. Cryptocurrencies are volatile, but I still believe they are the best strategy today that the average person can use to create life changing wealth. And I want to help everybody, every everyday person, anybody listening to this, get rich. Maybe you don't want a big mansion. Maybe you'd rather pay down your debt and never worry about money again. Either way, right now, right this moment, the odds are on your side. So, with that said, let's dive into specifics and dispel some of the myths about the cryptocurrency market and show how an average investor can help protect and grow their investment portfolio by properly investing in cryptocurrency. In the next 15 seconds, I'm going to give you some advice about the markets that might go against everything you're hearing, but it could mean the difference between a retirement where you need to find a part time job or where you shop for a part time vacation home. You've probably seen dozens of messages telling you simply buy, don't do it. Most of the people who follow that advice are going to get screwed because they're going to buy coins that seem popular or that they're getting the most buzz online, they're on Reddit or whatever. You can't use old, outdated tactics and bank on all cryptocurrencies or even popular cryptocurrencies shooting back up. The crypto investing days of spray and pray are long gone. We can't rely on the whole thing bouncing back up after a crash. In March of this year, just a few months ago, there are 18,465 cryptocurrencies in existence, and that number is getting bigger. To put that in perspective, there's only 6,296 companies listed on the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange. So there are more than three times as many cryptocurrencies as stocks listed on the major exchanges. Most of those cryptos are going down and they're going to stay down and they're going to go to zero, even major ones that right now investors think are safe. So, which are going to go up? Many years ago, a brilliant investor named Benjamin Graham said that the stock market is a voting machine in the short term and a weighing machine in the long term. In other words, only popular stocks rise in the short term, but eventually they crash and the stocks with real value go up. Benjamin Graham, by the way, was Warren Buffett's mentor. We've seen this change in the stock market several times with the dot-com bubble, for instance, and we're now seeing this change in the cryptocurrency market. I've anticipated this change for several years. I just didn't think it would happen this quickly. It would happen this coming month. But that's actually good news for you. I've identified several other cryptocurrencies whose potential to rocket upward could make Bitcoin's rise look downright gentle and slow by comparison. We are on the ground floor of a new opportunity for what I think are 8,800% returns. And because of the crash, one of the cryptocurrencies I'm recommending is trading for 96% less than its all time high. It's trading for just 10 cents. But time is of the essence. Unlike 10 years ago, right now, big institutional firms are scrambling to get into cryptocurrencies. And what about my contacts in the hedge fund and venture capital world? They're going all in. They're shoving the chips in, all in, especially today. Why is the smart money so bullish? Because we are watching in real time a pattern almost exactly like the rise of the internet. The last few years of the cryptocurrency market have been like the rise of internet companies during the dot-com boom in the late 1990s. Billions and billions of investor dollars poured into companies that didn't even have a profit or a business plan or anything but an internet sounding name. Some companies literally changed their name to include .com just to get more money, and it worked. Remind you of anything? This is just like all those altcoins made by people in their mom's basement to swindle investors. I even said on CNBC back in 2017 that they were scams, and I was proven right. Now, many people have written off cryptocurrencies and won't touch them, but we're going to turn their fear into our gain. Let's look back at the dot-com boom, which, as you know, turned into the dot-com bust. Companies that valuations as high as $7.5 billion went bankrupt. Pets.com, Webvan, eToys.com, Excite, and many more. What would have happened though if you had invested in the top 20 biggest tech companies? You would think you'd be bankrupt, right? With all those companies going bankrupt. But actually no, because even after 90% of your positions crashed and burned, the remaining 10% would have made you a millionaire many times over by 2010. Your portfolio will contain companies like Intel and Apple and Amazon. You do very well. Well enough that for the last 12 years, you could have been sipping your favorite drink on the deck of your luxury property. But in order to have that vision come true, you would have to be patient patient, patient enough to wait for those returns and have nerves of steel to deal with the uncertainty. But let's say you did more than just invest in the biggest tech stocks. Let's say you researched which companies had the most going for them. You ignored companies like WorldCom, which were generating amazing buzz, but it didn't actually provide any value. Then your actions during the bubble bursting would have been the best moves of your financial life. If you had invested $1,000 in Apple in 2001, you'd have over $500,000 as of today. Yes, and even with the most recent crash of tech stocks, but let's say you'd invested $10,000 in Apple. Right now, you'd be sitting on over $5 million. What if you had invested $1,000 in Amazon at the same time? You might have looked foolish, like me when I kept loading up on Bitcoin. After all, Amazon dropped from a high of $113 per share to a low of $5.51 per share. Sticking with Amazon would have taken courage, especially when Fortune magazine published how Barnes and Noble may crush Amazon, which is laughable now, or when Barron's published a cover story titled Amazon.bomb with a picture of Jeff Bezos' face imposed on a lit bomb. Lehman Brothers, of course, that great investment bank we've all heard of, issued a report at that time warning that the company was hemorrhaging cash and might not survive. Yes, you heard me right, that Lehman Brothers. If you held on to Lehman Brothers, you'd have zero. But who had put $1,000 into Amazon back then? Right now, you'd have over $367,000. And if you had invested $10,000, you'd have over $3,670,000. $3,670,000. Today, we take it for granted that these are solid blue chips that we wish we'd gotten in on, but they used to be hated and made fun of. Investors used to be scared of putting their money into them. That era is over. The World Wide Web isn't the new kid on the block anymore. It's over 30 years old. It's not hated or made fun of like Amazon was, but now cryptocurrency is. And just like Amazon, cryptocurrencies are still getting dragged through the mud. I mean, you heard me read those headlines earlier saying they're dead. People right now, they're calling it the crypto winter. That's going to be, and look, the people saying that, they're right, perhaps for 99% of those 18,000 cryptocurrencies. However, there are certain cryptocurrencies that are the Amazon and Google and Apple. And now you can grab your share for pennies on the dollar. But there are also cryptocurrencies that are like the scams from the internet bubble. Those companies that sounded cool but had zero revenue or customers. Many cryptocurrencies, even ones generating a lot of positive buzz, are just like that. You must avoid them. So here's how we can use lessons from the dot-com crash to make a fortune today. In the early 2000s, the internet was still strange to most people. We got a bazillion American Online CDs in the mail. It took 10 minutes to just get an email. And remember the ear piercing dial tones just to go online with your modem? And it broke if someone picked up the phone, and nobody dared put their credit card information online. The idea of doing that, let alone doing your banking online, was laughed at. Then, around 2005, everything changed. More people started using Amazon for shopping. It was suddenly okay to buy something online with your credit card. Today, now we do our banking online. We buy items with one click and they show up at our doorstep. Second, the internet gained traction because of how useful it was. After internet speeds picked up, email was lightning quick compared to the post office. Data could be easily stored. Businesses could sell products online. In fact, in 2006, when Yahoo offered Facebook $1 billion to purchase it, I went on CNBC and said Facebook would be worth $100 billion. They laughed at me, but I ended up being right. But I had seen that after 2005, the internet was no longer weird. It became the go-to option for billions of people. And how many of those people actually know how the internet is designed and built? Hardly any. Do you? Does it matter? You don't need to decipher code to buy wheat checks on Instacart. I'm saying all this because we've entered the same era in cryptocurrency. For the first few years, it was strange. We heard about Bitcoin and something called a blockchain, and most people ignored it. Buying a Bitcoin also was really hard and not secure, sort of like sending an email in the early 2000s or buying something in 1999 online. And for years, few people dared to use cryptocurrencies to make transactions or store their savings, sort of like how few people use their credit cards online. But that is all changing, and actually, it already has. MasterCard has already announced the release of its first credit card backed by crypto. And I'll repeat what I've been saying for years: crypto is taking over. You can either take advantage or get left behind. There's still time for you to get in early because we're still in that sweet spot between the pioneers and going mainstream. Researchers estimate that by the end of 2022, roughly 12.8% of the US population will be invested in cryptocurrencies. That's over 30 million people, which is a lot. But that also means billions of people haven't got on board yet, so you can still be ahead of the curve. More importantly, we haven't quite stepped into the magic number phase. Right now, the reported number of cryptocurrencies is 300 million. That number is screaming towards 1 billion. And of course, it'd be exciting if people were adopting cryptocurrencies as quickly as they did the internet. Well, it's interesting. People are not adopting it as quickly. They're adopting cryptocurrencies faster than the internet. Yes, faster. When the number of users hits 1 billion, I predict that using crypto technology will be as common as purchasing items online was after 2005. That's why I urge you to act on this information by December 31st, 2022, which is quickly approaching. Now, there's another lesson we can learn from history. This is how we can figure out which coins will go up. When the internet went mainstream, the companies that gushed out billions and billions of dollars for investors were the ones that provided the most use, the most value. They weren't just popular. They weren't just things that people speculated on or invested in. They actually gave a service that people in other businesses wanted. Think Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Google. That's what I didn't know when I invested in tech stocks in the late 90s. Instead of choosing stocks with real value, I simply bought them all. Sort of like how most people are investing in cryptocurrencies today. That's how I lost $15 million. And I was not able to rebuild my fortune until I started following the smart money. And that's how we're going to start building your fortune today. You've learned how the same transition that the internet went through is occurring with cryptocurrencies. The cryptocurrencies that will survive this crash and rocket upward like a coiled spring that suddenly lets loose will be the ones that provide the most use. Take UPS, for example. They're diving into blockchain, part of cryptocurrencies technology, as a potential backbone for their logistics. UC Berkeley and Lockheed Martin are using the coin I used to turn $25,000 into $2 million. A giant healthcare company is using the blockchain of the coin I predict will go up 8,788%. Here's another example. I talked with the owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves NBA team. He revealed to me that they're already building cryptocurrency technology into their ticketing system. Other sports teams are quietly doing the same. But remember, only a tiny percentage of cryptocurrencies are being used by big corporations. Those are the only ones we want to buy. So let's talk about stocks again. Who made a fortune in the 2008 crash? Smart investors like Warren Buffett. He dove straight into the rubble and scooped up bargains because he knew where the value was. Specifically, he looked for high intrinsic estimated value and strong cash flows coupled with a protective moat, healthy debt margin, and strong management. So, my method starts by examining the code behind a cryptocurrency. This helps me figure out which cryptocurrencies are useless scams and which have real value. The next step is doing deep research to confirm it's being adopted not just by people, but by businesses, ideally major financial institutions. Just like when you invest in a stock, you make sure there is a real company behind the ticker symbol. Finally, I use my connections, I admit it, with Manhattan Finance and the Silicon Valley elites to make sure the smart money is going all in. I quickly crossed 99.9% of cryptocurrencies off my list because they're just random altcoins that someone created in their mother's basement. The remaining 0.01%, give or take, are the ones I predict will spring upward in value. I call these coins the coiled cryptos. These are cryptocurrencies that, because of the crash, have had their value pressed down like a coiled spring. But that won't last forever. Eventually, these coiled cryptos will spring upward in value, especially when everyone wakes up and starts piling into them. You could be perfectly positioned to enjoy that. And guess what? Bitcoin is not a coiled crypto. That's why, even though I'm still sure Bitcoin will hit $1 million many years from now, but I've completely sold all of my Bitcoin. In this message, I'm going to show you the number one trait I look for so you can start identifying coiled cryptos. First, let me answer the question. Can fortunes still be made today? The answer is yes. Take Solana. In the beginning of 2021, it traded for just $1.84. By November, it soared to over $235. That's over 13,300% in a year. If you had just put $1,500 into it, you'd be sitting on $191,565 after just a year. Let's say you also invested another 1,500 in Phantom, Phantom, in early 2021. A year later, you'd be sitting on $211,406. That's $402,971 from just two trades and only $3,000 to start. And again, this wasn't some fluke from the last decade when cryptocurrencies were brand new. This was last year. This was in 2021. Okay, let's say you made a third trade in the beginning of 2021 for a coin called Axie Infinity, and you put another, I don't know, $1,500 into that. Over a year, you would have enjoyed your position growing to a jaw-dropping 17,320% to $261,305. Add that to your other trades, you could have been sitting on $664,276 with just three $1,500 trades. Of course, rare gains like these are only possible if you invest in the right cryptos and the right time the market is perfect for you, which is difficult because cryptos are notoriously volatile. But that's why this is the market handing us a gift. And I'm not saying those three coins are going to return to their previous highs. Past performance, of course, does not guarantee future results, but it does give us the opportunity to get cryptocurrencies primed to spring upwards right now at dirt cheap prices. As you'll soon see, I've identified what I believe to be the next generation of cryptocurrencies that are going to make Bitcoin's rise look downright slow and gentle. These are the coiled cryptos. And just like you saw in those examples, I want to give you 9 coiled crypto recommendations. These are set to explode. Just one of these coiled cryptos could deliver you a fortune. In just a moment, I'll give you the name of one that I predict will deliver 8,788% returns. In other words, I predict a little over $1,000 invested into this coiled crypto will turn into $100,000, and a little over $10,000 invested will turn into $1 million. This is not some speculative altcoin available only on some sketchy exchange either. It's a major coin hanging right out in the open for anyone to grab. So I'll just tell you exactly what it is in less than 5 minutes. But the exciting part is because prices have crashed so hard recently, it's now possible to scoop up these coiled cryptos for pennies on the dollar and enjoy potentially life changing returns. Several opportunities I've identified are trading so cheaply that you'll grab 8x returns on your investment if they simply go back to where they were a few months ago. But I predict they're going to go much, much higher. You see, if you successfully identify a coiled crypto, you only need to do it once for the chance at outsized gains. Okay, so here's where we start. Grab a pen and paper because I'm going to give you the ticker symbol for one of my foundational coiled cryptos, and it's not Bitcoin. For years, I predicted Bitcoin is headed for $1 million. So far, the trend has proven me correct. Not only does the long term trajectory of Bitcoin prove it's been one of the best investments in history, it's now being used by, I don't know, citizens of the Ukraine to protect and move their savings. They've received over 100 million in aid through Bitcoin and other cryptos. Multiple indicators show it's heading to $1 million. Not if, but when. For example, all the money in the world is estimated to be roughly $1 quadrillion. If just 1.75% of that goes into Bitcoin, then that trivially hits $1 million per coin, which is why former Goldman Sachs hedge fund manager Raul Paul and Wences Caceres, a member of PayPal's board of directors, and Chamath, I never know how to say his last name, but he's a former Facebook executive, they all agree Bitcoin is heading to $1 million. So again, why am I out of Bitcoin? Because there's another cryptocurrency that's all the advantages of Bitcoin, but has more real world use. This cryptocurrency is being adopted by financial institutions to form the backbone of their ability to transmit money. That's a big deal. In fact, when I pulled a set of data from a 24-hour period, this cryptocurrency I'm about to mention had processed over 1.4 million transactions, which, believe it or not, is 4 times more than Bitcoin in the same period. Plus, just like Bitcoin, it minted more millionaires in 2021 than in any previous year. I'm talking about Ethereum. Now, you might be a little disappointed. Oh, Ethereum, everyone knows about Ethereum. True, but there's a big difference between knowing about a cryptocurrency and knowing if it's a coiled crypto. They're hiding in plain sight. There are a lot of cryptocurrencies that are hiding in plain sight. And you know what? Most of them are going to plain zero. The key is to know which is which. Here's a comparison. Everyone knew about Amazon in the early 2000s, just like everyone knows about Ethereum today. But those who knew to invest in Amazon, even when the mainstream was making fun of Amazon's stock price and calling it Amazon.bomb and whatever, those people became multi-millionaires. And to be clear, I'm not saying that investing in Ethereum is going to produce a fortune. Your best shot at that is going to come from different cryptocurrencies that are trading from as low as 11 cents. And I'll get to those in a moment. I think of Ethereum as a solid crypto savings account. Ethereum is widely used and has tangible value beyond investment. Listen, I predict Ethereum will rise to $100,000 in value for a gain of 8,788%. That's why I sleep better at night knowing I switched from Bitcoin to Ethereum. Plus, as far as savings accounts go, it's done very well. Since recommending Ethereum to my subscribers in September 2017, it's gone up as high as 488%. Here's another way to think of it. Bitcoin was the pioneer, much like the original search engines for the World Wide Web were pioneers. Do you know what the first search engines were? I had to Google them. Yes, I had to quote unquote Google them because Google, even though it was far from the first, eventually dominated the market. And I'm sure Ethereum will be similar. The most urgent reason I'm diving into Ethereum is because of a recent event called the merge. Bloomberg reporting on it says it's a tectonic shift for this cryptocurrency and the entire market. And I won't bore you with the technical details, but I'm going to tell you what you need to know. Ethereum has a limited supply. Each new Ethereum is awarded to miners who use computers to solve complicated mathematical problems. This requires an astronomical amount of electricity. Because of this, the miners need to turn around and immediately sell most of their hard won Ethereum to cover their costs. And because of that, there's always been plenty of Ethereum selling on the market. But here's where the merge comes in. It changes how miners are awarded new Ethereum. The new method won't require nearly as much electricity. In fact, there's going to be a decrease of about 99% in the electric bill of Ethereum miners. And as a result, miners won't have to sell their Ethereum to cover the cost of mining. The result, they keep their Ethereum. After this switch occurs, analysts estimate Ethereum supply will drop 90%. What happens when an item with a huge demand suddenly has only 10% of the supply? Prices go way, way up. Imagine a world where gold miners simply stockpile their gold instead of selling it to the market. That is exactly what we're facing with Ethereum. And this change has already begun. That's why in the cryptocurrency world, I think of owning Ethereum as my savings account. Of course, this isn't your typical savings account where you're lucky to get like 1% interest rates per year. Cryptocurrencies aren't insured and are far more risky, but if you look at the rewards, it's still a no brainer. That said, no great investor keeps all of their money in savings. And when you're looking for life changing returns, you need to look beyond the savings account. You need to look ahead and look narrower to lesser known niched cryptocurrencies that are crucial for the financial sector to keep evolving, especially the smaller coins that are built on top of Ethereum. Because if Ethereum goes up, I predict these coins will go up more and go up faster. For the past several years, that's what I've been investigating, which led me to results like this. This is a price chart for a cryptocurrency I bought when it traded for just 51 cents. You probably have more than 51 cents between your couch cushions right now. Although I bought more than one, I actually bought a bunch, $25,000 worth. Now, it might seem crazy to plunge that much money into one tiny cryptocurrency, but I looked deeper and I could see the hidden value. So I made the purchase, sat back, and did absolutely nothing until it rose and rose and rose to a price of over $64, from 51 cents to $64. You don't need to do the math. I'll just tell you that's 125x return in 4.5 years. And I sold it almost the perfect time and pocketed over $2 million. $2 million. The The average person needs to show up for work at a job they hate day after day, week after week, year after year, decade after decade, cut back on their expenses, patiently put away savings, and maybe they can build a $2 million portfolio when they're ready to retire. I did it with just a few clicks of my mouse. These opportunities are far from over. In fact, because of the way the entire market has dipped, right now is the perfect time to find similar returns. And a tiny number of cryptocurrencies are now on my radar screen. And the more I've looked at the numbers, the more I've looked at the use cases, the more I've seen who is involved in them, the more excited that I've gotten, because there's a small pocket of coiled cryptos that are quiet fortune building machines, and they're available dirt cheap as 11 cents. Yes, even cheaper than the crypto I use to make $2 million. And when the Ethereum merge happens, these coiled cryptos are going to explode. For instance, right now, a specific sub niche of cryptocurrencies are forming the bedrock of modern day financial transactions, not just between people, but between major financial institutions like multinational banks. And it would take at least an entire book to dive into all the technical details, but I've already done the research. My next coiled crypto recommendation is in this sub niche. Here's how it works. Major public companies can transform their business using something called smart contract technology. Basically, this means a contract that is executed on the blockchain, which is part of cryptocurrency technology. Smart contracts don't require a team of lawyers. They don't require that all parties involved trust each other. Smart contracts can't be tampered with, and they execute automatically. Compared to old contracts, dumb contracts, think of smart contracts as the difference between hiring a person to cook a dish on the stove versus a device that monitors a dish's temperature and automatically shuts off the stove when it's perfectly cooked. You don't need to understand all the specifics. You just need to know this revolutionizes real estate contracts, corporate contracts, attorney contracts, title transfers. The list goes on and on and on. It even helps streamline how a business can receive payments, doing away with annoying monthly subscription models. It can replace middlemen. Think of a company like Uber. The only reason Uber exists is to match up drivers and riders and take a cut of the fees. A smart contract system could replace companies like Uber entirely and let riders and drivers easily connect. Drivers could provide a better service and make more money. Sorry if you work for Uber. Same deal with Airbnb. A smart contract could allow homeowners and guests to deal directly with each other and save money with no middleman. Same with DoorDash. Smart contracts even have applications in sports betting, in ticketing. Now, the way these smart contracts work under the hood can become extremely complex. For some of them to properly work, they need to gather massive amounts of real world data. In the example of replacing Uber, for instance, the smart contract would need information about where the rider wants to go. For sports betting, the smart contract would need to know which teams won and what the scores are. This is where my coiled crypto recommendation comes in. It gathers, organizes, and supplies real world data to smart contracts, medical data, weather data, shipping logistics data, price data, sports data. This has the potential to disrupt multi billion-dollar companies. However, potential is one thing. If that cryptocurrency is so great, what's it doing right now? And the answer is plenty. This cryptocurrency is proving so useful that massive companies are already partnering with it. Oracle, Google Cloud, Swisscom, Associated Press, Amazon Web Services, LexisNexis, T Mobile. They're already using this cryptocurrency as part of their operations. Yes, already using. In fact, Bank of America published in a 2022 research report that this cryptocurrency will be a major driver of DeFi, which is short for decentralized finance. A former CEO of one of the biggest technology companies of all time has joined the team of this cryptocurrency as a strategy advisor. I've had this cryptocurrency in my sights for a very long time, but the price was too high for me to go all in. The latest dip changed everything. It plummeted a full 85% from its all time high and now trades for around $7. I couldn't believe it until I saw it happen. It's just selling right there out in the open. Now is the time to grab your share. How big could this cryptocurrency get? Let's just say its market capitalization reaches the level of Bitcoin, which is very reasonable because Bitcoin is still only a fraction of its potential. If this happens, the cryptocurrency would be trading an astonishing 131 times what it is now, or over $800. That's 13,053%, turning a $1,000 investment into $131,000. Or if you want to get even a little bit aggressive, turning a $10,000 investment into $1,310,000. Of course, to be extra sure this coiled crypto could still make investors a fortune, I checked in with my network. These are the insiders, the wealthy, the scary smart people who don't like to talk about their next moves. And I found out what they're bullish on, and this was on the list, big time. I also analyzed the market moves of the cryptocurrency investment space's whales. If you don't know, a whale is a term for super wealthy holders of cryptocurrencies. Because you can own cryptos anonymously, it's difficult and sometimes impossible to tell who these whales are. But that's not really as important as seeing what they're doing. After all, if you knew a billionaire was selling one stock and piling into another, wouldn't it make sense to follow their lead and ride the wave? If you knew Warren Buffett was buying billions of dollars of a stock during the 2008 financial crisis, wouldn't it be wise to jump in with him and ride the wave up? Absolutely. I've made fortunes for myself and clients doing just that 20 years ago. That's why I always check the trading activity of the whales. And even though this coiled crypto's price has plummeted in the last year, the whales, the smart money, have not abandoned it. Not only are they holding steady, I'm sure some are accumulating more. And I'll show you how to get this coiled crypto's ticker symbol in a bit and the easiest way to get your hands on some. First, let's move on to my next coiled crypto recommendation. If you thought $7 was cheap, and it is, get ready because there are other Coiled cryptos that are similarly priced and a couple that are currently trading for pennies. The first is a major player in the decentralized finance universe. I mentioned that term earlier, so let me briefly explain. All of finance today is controlled by centralized institutions, banks, governments, currencies that are currently losing their value because of inflation that's sweeping the globe. Decentralized finance, on the other hand, wipes out the middleman. The code of cryptocurrencies will allow you to become your own bank. Decentralized finance is the next evolution of finance. Nothing is going to stop it. It's the car compared to the horse drawn carriage. This is online video compared to VHS. And if Ethereum takes off, this coiled crypto is poised to positively rocket upward. But that's not the only one I've identified. Next is coiled crypto number two. This one solves a problem the entire cryptocurrency universe is facing, and it's a replica of what helped create the internet. Decades ago, computers couldn't talk to each other. If you had a Mac and an IBM, they couldn't talk. The internet solved that. Today, blockchains have difficulty talking to each other. This Quell Crypto's aim is to solve that. Its founders raised $145 million in 2017, and this coin is trading almost 88% below its all time high for just $7. Quell Crypto number three is going to destroy the banking industry as it stands. It will be used to borrow, earn interest, and make passive income just like a bank, but without the fees or middlemen. Mark Cuban actually is already heavily invested in this one, has gone on record saying banks should be scared of this type of coiled crypto. A CEO of a major crypto investment firm said this coiled crypto is one of only a handful of assets that he believes could replace JP Morgan and the New York Stock Exchange. At over $71 is pricier than my other recommendations, but it's still trading over 89% below its all-time high. Coiled Crypto number four has partnered with Oracle. You might have heard sometimes the internet has evolved from the web to Web 2.0 with social networks and so on, and is now heading into Web 3.0. This Coiled Crypto is likely to become literally the Windows operating system for Web 3.0. Imagine if you had gotten in on Microsoft before everyone began using Windows. With this Coiled Crypto, you're going to have a similar opportunity. Coiled Crypto number five is a major DeFi coin that has plummeted 88% below its all time high. Again, I think it's going to easily return to its previous price and it's going to go way beyond. It's now selling for just around $6. Coiled Crypto number six is going to be a major asset in the crypto gaming space, which could balloon to 100 million players per day. It's now trading over 80% below its all time high for just 57 cents. Coiled Crypto number seven solves a major problem in the cryptocurrency space, which is speed of transactions. I predict that this Coiled Crypto will be a hub for DeFi, NFTs, and crypto gaming. It's trading over 86 below its all-time high for around $35. Coiled Crypto number eight is going to be a major asset for enterprise level businesses that want to use this blockchain. trading over 84% below its all-time high for just 49 cents. And I've saved the most exciting for last. Coiled Crypto number 9 aims to be the Google of cryptocurrency. Google's search engine allows you to look up what you need, just like a book's index. As a result, Google has become one of the most successful companies on the planet. But this Coiled Crypto aims to be the indexing Google of all the blockchains. It's now trading a draw dropping 96% below its all-time high for just 11 cents. Well, how big could this cryptocurrency get? Let's say its market capitalization reaches to the level of Bitcoin, which again is very reasonable because Bitcoin is still only a fraction of its potential. If this happens, this cryptocurrency would be worth an astonishing 601 times what it is now, or over $55.14. That's from 11 cents to $55.14. Going by a percentage increase, that's 60,027%. You would turn a $1,000 investment into $600,000. Or if you really want to get aggressive, which I do, turning a $10,000 investment into $6 million. And that's just one coiled crypto. As you've just seen, I've identified 9 coiled cryptos that I recommend you grab as soon as you possibly can. You can get all 9, and remember that you need only one winner to make a fortune. That's the key thing. Please keep in mind, though, extraordinary gains are rare. In fact, not every crypto will end up being a winner. Nothing in the markets are guaranteed, of course. And due to the volatile nature of cryptos, I never recommend investing more than you're willing to lose. But that said, it takes only one good investment to be set for life. And one of the best parts of these Quell cryptos, you don't need to go through some complicated coding sequence to claim them. No weird apps you've never heard of, no strange bots you need to download, no complicated jumping through hoops trading one coin for another. I understand very few people are coders or have any interest in that, which is why I made sure all of these coins are simple to acquire. In fact, every single one of these coins are available on Coinbase. You can buy them with cash as easily purchasing a common stock like Coca-Cola. In fact, if you're listening to this message and you already have a Coinbase account, which is just as easy to set up as with a typical brokerage firm, you can easily own a stake in these coins in under 20 minutes from now. Take a moment to think about that. You watched what happened to Bitcoin. You saw the news stories of people who've made easy millions with it. You heard about how I've made a small fortune in cryptocurrencies. And now the market's handed you a perfect opportunity to build your fortune. Now, even though I've written and published over 20 books in my career, including some major bestsellers, I'm not publishing the names of these quote cryptos to the general public. I'm not talking about them on my podcast episodes. I'm not writing their names in any of my articles, and I'm not mentioning their names in public interviews. Out of respect for my subscribers to my private Altucher's investment network, I'm keeping the information reserved for them. The good news for you is you can get the names of these coins for free if you decide to become a member of Altucher's investment network today. As soon as you do, I will send you the names of all 9 coiled cryptos in my report called Coiled Cryptos to Make a Fortune. Plus, Altucher's investment network covers more than just cryptocurrencies. This is where I share my best insights every month, from cryptocurrencies set to explode for tremendous profits to hot new stock market sectors like self driving cars, artificial intelligence, drone technology, to easy side hustle ideas you can use to make substantial income part time from home, and much more. Tapping into my vast network of high level contacts, you'll be at the forefront of some of the biggest money making opportunities in the world. The publishing price for Altucher's investment network is $299. But if you take advantage of the special offer I'm about to tell you, you can get in for far less. And that's not all I'm going to do for you. I'll also send you a copy of my newest book, The Big Book of Crypto. You see, I wanted to do more than just reveal the coins I believe will rocket upward and create you a fortune. I want to draw back the curtain and show you the inside information of how the crypto universe truly works. Armed with this book, if you ever choose to explain to your friends how you've become so wealthy, you can share some of what you learned in this book. Here's just a tiny sample of what the Big Book of Crypto reveals: an obscure crypto bank account that has paid up to 17.7% in interest per year. CNBC reports that the average savings account pays just 0.06% per year. No wonder it's so hard to get ahead these days. But on page 119, you'll discover the little known crypto bank account that has paid up to 17.7% a year. Better yet, interest gets paid every single week like clockwork. It's easy to do, and you can get started within minutes. Or how a 14-year-old from Texas made up to $32,000 per month with crypto. Yahoo Finance reports that a 14-year-old in Dallas has used this little known crypto strategy to make up to $32,000 a month right from home. And while they do put in a few $1,000s to implement this strategy each month, they're doing it without buying and selling cryptocurrency like a trader would. If a child can do that, imagine how much you could have the chance to make. Flip to page 207 of your book, and you'll see exactly how it works. The 60-second Bitcoin challenge. No Bitcoin yet? You don't have any? No problem. If you're interested, I virtually guarantee we can show you how to have your first crypto investment settled in 60 seconds or less from an app that's probably already on your phone. Go to page 92 and see how easy this challenge is for yourself. Ready the stopwatch? Go. And much, much more. Look, now that we've come this far, let's face it, you can't unlearn what you learned today. You've learned how the entire cryptocurrency universe has shifted. You've learned how, despite the crash, big companies are finally using certain cryptocurrencies and how these coiled cryptos could explode very soon. You learn how, because of the crash that's happening now, these coiled cryptos are trading for pennies on the dollar. You've learned how the dot-com in 2008 crash showed us the exact strategy to make a fortune today. In other words, this is like 2008 for crypto. Some investors tucked tail and ran in 2008, and they're still licking their wounds. Others made millions, even billions. Guess what? This is happening in crypto now. This is the side you want to be on. But if you feel stuck on the sidelines, wondering if you should get in, but scared of looking foolish if you make the wrong call, the truth is you really cannot afford to sit this opportunity out. You can look back on today as just another day in the slow death of the average retirement portfolio, or the day when you made a couple of killer moves that could set you and your family up for life. This is a crucial time where the average investor is getting scared out of the market. The average investor is just going to throw their hands in the air and do nothing. And they're going to bitterly regret it later. Like in 2018, when Bitcoin was already mainstream, yet exploded 10x in just 2 years, turning $10,000 into $100,000 you could have done, or turn 100,000 into $1 million. And running scared when there's blood in the streets is why the average investor always underperforms the market. And let me tell you, best in these decades of experience working on Wall Street, in Silicon Valley, and managing the money of billionaires, this is when the smart money takes decisive action. We've all seen the stories of Bitcoin multimillionaires, like the profile New York Times just published about 20-year-old kids who got in on Bitcoin early and laughed their way to creating $1 million fortunes. Imagine what it must have been like for them, what they must have felt like. Less than 10 years ago, they put their money, in some cases, as little as a few $100s, into this quote unquote coin that seemed like little more than ones and zeros on a screen. But then it starts exploding up and up and up. They got to watch their accounts grow and swell as the days went on. Sure, sometimes the value drops and they probably felt like they had just swallowed a cannonball. And then it starts hitting unreal wealth territory as news outlets started screaming the headlines about this strange crypto trend. They watched their account values cross over $10 million in some cases. Their friends trudged to their entry level jobs for another day of exhausting work. They probably could barely catch their breath with excitement, feeling adrenaline pulse through their guts. When their wealth exploded so quickly, their heads must have been in a daze, but in a good way, in a wonderful way, knowing they would never need to worry about money again. They're done. That's what it was like for those early adopters. Because even with multiple mansions, private jets, and any luxury and classic cars they wanted, they never have to worry about money again. It seems like a fantasy, but real people are doing this. And the next opportunity to get in on this has finally landed. Some might wonder why I'm bothering with this message instead of just quietly investing in cryptocurrencies myself. Well, guess what? I am. The coin recommendations you'll receive are coins that I have already locked into my family trust. I will be passing them down to my four daughters and one son who I love more than anything else in the world. And look, I began praising the cryptocurrency Bitcoin when it traded for just $61. What would have been like if you'd listened to me then and bought $100 worth? You'd be sitting at almost $35,000 today. Well, what if you put in $1,000? You'd have $343,000 today. What about $10,000? Well, you could do the math. You'd be financially set with a $3.4 million nest egg. You could toss those profits into blue chips and collect dividends every year, living like royalty without touching the principal. And some people did just that. No wonder that during the Bitcoin boom, the New York Times reported everyone is getting hilariously rich and you're not. Let's not even talk about the ones who put in more than that and ended up with hundreds of millions of dollars. Fortunately, if you didn't catch the first wave, this latest crash just gave you a second chance. You are being handed a gift. Do not turn your back on it. There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. The second best time is now. I still believe investing in cryptocurrency is probably the best bet in human history. That's why I'm still in the game, and the future looks very, very bright. I want you to join me. And here's what to do now: click the button below to start getting access to my cryptocurrency recommendations. I'll deliver them in a PDF report instantly to you titled Coiled Cryptos to Make You a Fortune. You'll receive special access minutes after you sign up. Whatever day or time it is, you'll land on a special page where you can open the PDFs, plus, it will be emailed to you. If you already have an account where you invest in a cryptocurrency, then all you need to do is open up your account and buy the specific coins they recommend. The whole process is going to take less than 20 minutes, and that includes time to make a cup of coffee and read the PDF. Get started with a tiny investment, which is what I recommend. Once you've invested in the coins, sit back to absolutely nothing. That's right, because a key part of this strategy is to wait and let the cryptocurrencies rocket upward on their own. No complicated trading, none of these technical charts. It allows you to enjoy your life, spend time with your family, catch up on a good book you've been meaning to finish, plan a canoe trip, because now you get to smile and know that you have an opportunity to build wealth and freedom automatically, whatever you do, because you've already claimed your piece of the growing crypto empire. Got a big debt that you're paying off a crumble at a time, and you'd rather get rid of it in one big slice? A colleague of mine did just that. When he got hit with a sudden $30,000 debt, he simply clicked a few buttons to sell some of his cryptocurrency, and the debt was gone. I recommend you start small. 50 bucks in one of my recommendations over here, 50 bucks in another one over there. You'll barely notice the difference until those investments start to grow. A colleague of mine has been following this strategy and built a multi-million dollar portfolio because with past gains like 50,000% plus in a matter of years, you don't need to invest a lot. I estimate the cryptocurrency universe is going to become a quadrillion dollar industry. That's 15 zeros, or $1,000 trillion, or $1,000,000,000,000. You only need a teeny tiny microscopic slice to get rich. The exciting part is when your slice starts to grow. Remember earlier when I gave examples of someone investing just 100 or 1,000 bucks in Bitcoin, and that could have turned up to $1 million? And imagine if they invested more. We're talking multiple millions. This is what could happen if you get in and out at the right time. That time is now, and I don't want anybody to get left behind. Of course, once you sign up, you'll receive regular updates from me on our open positions, telling you if investing more is a good idea or if it's smart to simply hold or when it's time to sell, which ideally would be after enjoying a life changing return. Okay, so what's the catch? As you learned earlier, the only way to get the report revealing the Coiled cryptos is right here, right now, by becoming a member of Altucher's investment network. You already know that out of respect for my subscribers, I don't publish my recommendations to the general public. Not on my podcast episodes, not in my articles, not in my public interviews. In fact, before I started Altucher's investment network, I reserved my investment strategies for my family and my close inner circle. However, today you can get everything delivered to you for a reasonable subscription fee, which helps pay for the cost of my research and getting this message to you. So take a moment. Think how valuable it would have been to know about Bitcoin's rise before it happened. If you knew that when Bitcoin was trading for just $61, if you knew it was going to explode to over $60,000, how much would that have been worth to you? Would it have been worth $10,000? Considering you could have scooped up roughly 15 Bitcoins and become a millionaire, I think $10,000 would be more than fair to get your hands on that information. Certainly $5,000 or $1,000. What about $100 to get your hands on a single investment idea that could have made you a millionaire? 100 bucks would be worth nothing. And like I said, I'm doing this to help the average investor. I'm not going to charge $10,000 or $5,000 or $1,000, not even $100. And it's true, even though the published price of Altucher's investment network is $299, you can get everything you heard about today and become a year-long member for just $49. That's less than the tab for dinner at a mediocre restaurant. But this gives you the tools for the chance to be set for life. If you're concerned about the investment for Altucher's investment network, then consider this. The hedge funds and private equity firms I used to run and advise required minimum account balances for you to even get started. Some required investors to fork over $500,000 or more. With Altucher's investment network, you're getting similar guidance for mere pennies by comparison. It's literally pennies. Considering I will be providing in depth market analysis and recommendations in cryptocurrencies and beyond through this research newsletter, your subscription comes out to just a little over 13 cents per day. If the Coiled cryptos I recommend even move a teeny tiny bit upward, barely even a fraction of what I predict they'll do, you'll be profiting. One of the most important truths I hope you take from our time together is that cryptocurrency is here to stay. It is the next phase of money, and you still have a chance to be a part of this. You still have a chance to get in on what I believe to be the largest asymmetrical bet in human history and the best one we're going to see in our lifetimes. I have no doubt. You're now at a fork in the road, and you've got two choices. Number one, you can do nothing. You can close this page. You can try to forget what you've learned and go back to your regular life. You can look at your news updates from day to day and hope and pray the market turns around. And then you could at least beat inflation. You might discover years or even just months from now news that certain cryptocurrencies have turned around and are now exploding, and they're making fortunes for those who invested in them. You might shake your head, sigh, and think, yeah, I kept hearing about how I should get in, but I never made the leap. In other words, you can do exactly what the average investor does, which is fine because there's many ways to live life and make money and so on. But unfortunately, this is why research shows that the average investor underperforms the market as a whole, and why it's becoming more and more common for baby boomers to put a pause on their retirement because they need to get part-time jobs. It's a sad way to live out your golden years, and even sadder because it's completely avoidable. Or you can make a different choice. Choice number two, you can take a small, easy step today. Just a few minutes from now, you can be reading the reports that my team and I have put together. You'll know exactly which cryptocurrencies are secretly called coiled cryptos and why they're so valuable, and why now is the best time to act. You can start grabbing your shares of them on any major exchange, even Coinbase. They're sitting right out there in the open. You can build big positions or small ones. When you're setting up your position on top of a coiled spring ready to launch, it doesn't need to be big. Then, perhaps just a few months from now, you get to wake up every morning and watch your position get bigger and bigger and bigger. Instead of reading about those who struck gold, you get to enjoy the ride yourself. When your spouse asks why you've got a smile on your face, you can point to the latest news item. Maybe it's a report on yet another major corporation went public about how vital a coiled crypto is to their business, and say, that's the cryptocurrency I took a small stake in a few months ago. Then you look your spouse in the eye and say, it's not so small anymore. As you start watching your cryptocurrency portfolio grow together, you have a blast discussing what you're going to do with your profits. As you keep talking, you laugh with each other and admit you don't have to choose one or the other. Not anymore. You're now one of the folks who got lucky with crypto. And we'll both know it wasn't luck, it was because of smart choices. And I hope the choice for you is clear because these are the results I work hard to get from my subscribers. If you do choose to join Altucher's investment network, your membership cost is protected by 100% money back guarantee. Here's how it works. Once you become a member, you can dive into my Coral Cryptos to make you a fortune report. You could be grabbing your share of each cryptocurrency in just minutes. From there, you'll get timely updates on our open positions in my monthly's Altucher's investment network. You'll also get weekly email alerts. And for your reading pleasure, you can page through the big book of crypto for more insider knowledge. On page 113, you can discover little known websites you can visit and get free Bitcoin. If after 6 months, you're not completely satisfied with how much your positions have rocketed upward, if you don't think my recommendations have funded a dream retirement and set you and your family up for life, simply give my friendly Maryland based customer service team a call and we will issue a full refund, no questions asked. Of course, I am very confident you're going to be thrilled with your results, and I want to make your decision today both a smart one and a safe one. With all that said, I suggest you act quickly. If you delay, there's no guarantee you'll be able to get a coiled crypto for prices like we're seeing. Again, the market could turn on a dime. If you position yourself well, this can be a dream come true. If you're too late, it can remain just another dream. For the first time in years, I'm watching the prices for amazing cryptocurrencies fall to dirt cheap levels. There's no way this is going to last. And with that said, here's the complete breakdown of what you'll receive when you come on board Altucher's investment network. We're here to set you up perfectly to profit from the next stage in the cryptocurrency universe. So you're going to receive 12 monthly issues of Altucher's investment network with an in-depth take on today's market delivered to your inbox. My newest report, which is called Coiled Cryptos to Make a Fortune, exclusive access to the investing secrets of my network of the 1%, including new technology companies, crypto updates, investment opportunities behind the next big trends, and more. Weekly email updates concerning our model portfolio and the overall market. Email alerts anytime we recommend you buy or sell a model portfolio position. Free special reports and exclusive updates. I give all those out all the time. Unadvertised bonuses sent straight to you, and much, much more to come. My team will get you instant access to your reports, and every month you'll receive updates on the markets and what our next moves will be. Okay, listen, you've come this far. I really appreciate it. Now it's time for you to take the next step. You've learned how I started pounding the table about Bitcoin before it rocketed over 50,000%, potentially turning a $1,000 investment up to $1 million. You've learned how my research indicates we're entering a new phase in cryptocurrency, which is mirroring the era of internet based companies like Apple, where a $1,000 investment in 2021 could have turned into over $500,000 today, and $10,000 in Apple could have grown to over $5 million. Cryptocurrency multiplies those returns. If you'd invested $1,000 into Bitcoin when I first began talking how great it was, you'd have a potential $1 million today. And if you invested $10,000, you would have a potential $100 million. It sounds crazy, like a dream come true. But if you play the markets like the smart money does, it's possible and it's not too late. Warren Buffett once said, "Cash combined with courage in a time of crisis is priceless." We're now in a time of crisis. All the cash you need to start investing is $7 or as little as 11 cents. You just need to supply the courage. And while I can't predict if you'll make a fortune, I believe the ways your life could change will be priceless. P.S. As I mentioned before, institutional money is pouring into cryptocurrencies. The smart money is flooding into them. And when institutional investors have fully staked their claims, the easy gains will be gone. Don't put this off. Instead, get ahead of them. It'd be so easy to close this page, go back to your daily routine, keep your same retirement worries, and hope the markets don't even sink lower. Instead, click the button below. Join me and other smart investors making a killing in crypto. You could have your position secured in as little as 20 minutes, whatever day or time it is now. Some people have built multi-million-dollar fortunes by working and saving for decades, and that's great. Power to them. Others have built multi-million dollar fortunes by making a couple of good moves in the crypto space. Which would you rather be? Click the button below to get started. Question: if you think your crypto plays are going to do so well, why bother telling anyone? That's a fair question. I've been writing about investments now for almost 20 years. I truly enjoy showing the average investor, average people, how to make real life changing money. People were skeptical of me in 2013 when I began praising Bitcoin. If it were truly legit, you wouldn't be saying anything, they'd accuse me. Since then, it's gone up as high as 50,000% plus. Again, I truly enjoy helping the average investor. I write books, I have a podcast. I could walk away from everything right now and live richer with my investments, but I don't. I know people who do, and they're miserable. I'd rather be happy, and I feel happy helping others.